Hello everybody and welcome to the MGTOW Academy Show. This is Season 2, Episode number 6. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day, night, morning, evening, whatever time it is where you are in a very big universe for listening to the MGTOW Academy Show. And as you all know, I value your time very much. So once again, thanks for listening to the show, guys. We have a very important topic that I'd like to discuss in today's episode. I'm going to be going over some articles about the Argento thingy that's been going on recently. I'm sure if you guys have been tuning into the news online, you would have known that Asia Argento, she is a Harvey Weinstein accuser and also a big voice in the hashtag Metoo movement. She has been accused of raping a child actor, and the media, of course, refuses to use the word rape. You're going to see stuff like I'm looking at it right now. Sexual assault, sexual allegations, stuff like that. It's rape, okay? I mean, once you start to, read these articles on like a daily basis and all that type of stuff, and you start to, see these type of patterns, you're like, wow. I mean, it's really kind of a shocker, seeing how the media just absolutely refuses to use the word rape. It's like a conspiracy theory. Sometimes I think that some of the stuff going on regarding gender dynamics, if that's the right word to call it, is like a conspiracy theory. I mean, it just seems so weird. It's like a conspiracy theory. But whatever. So I'm coming through these articles over here. We got a bunch of them lined up from the Independent, and then this one, while I was trying to pull these articles up, this one was just released like maybe a couple, about 14 minutes ago. Right now it's 9:02 p.m. when I'm recording this, and this one was updated at 8:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's on CNN.com, the true fake news. All mainstream media is fake news, but CNN is ultimate fake news. However, this title, it really got my attention, and it wasn't a good title. So this title says, Asia Argento accusations don't weaken hashtag MeToo. They show why it's needed. So let's see what this is. All right, I'm going to read this really briefly. Asia Argento, one of the hashtag MeToo movement's most prominent figureheads, has been accused of sexual assault. That's a funny way to say rape. According to the New York Times, in the months after she was named by Ronan Farrow among the women allegedly raped by Harvey Weinstein, Argento agreed to a settlement of $380,000 for her own accuser, a young musician and actor called Jimmy Bennet. $380,000. I can go to college with that money, and with the leftover of that money, I could buy a car, maybe even a small house. That's a lot of money. I mean, you don't just pay a young musician and actor $380,000 out of random. I mean, that's a lot of money. All right, that's really hair-raising, if you ask me. Argento played Bennett's mother in 2004's The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things, and the pair had remained in sporadic contact since. The documents sent to the New York Times included a photo of Argento laying down with Bennet in 2013, when Bennet claimed they had sex. At the time, Argento was 37, and Bennet had just turned 17. So let's do one of those gender scenario switcheroo things. That's what I like to call it, gender scenario switcheroos. That's a term that I coined up. So imagine, so Argento was 37 and the guy was 17. Imagine if there was like a 37-year-old male sleeping with a 17-year-old female. All of a sudden, it's creepy. I mean, talk about double standards, am I right? So the age of consent in California is 18, meaning that if the pair did have intercourse, then it would be defined as statutory rape. They actually used the word rape, and it's coming from CNN. Well, how come you didn't use it in the title? I mean, okay, sure. Argento said her financial arrangement with Bennet was covered by her then boyfriend, the late TV chef Anthony Bourdain. Some, including Weinstein's own attorney and men's rights activists who came to his defense, argue that Bennett's accusation and the financial agreement between Bennet and Argento have called the hashtag MeToo movement into question. Barry Weiss of the New York Times wrote this week, women are hypocrites, women are abusers, women are liars, just like men. And, well, that's true. Twitter has lit up with people from all sides decrying Argento and hashtag MeToo, exacerbated by inconsistencies in her account of events. But while this might plunge into her murky waters, the same isn't necessarily true of hashtag MeToo. First, it is necessary to make the distinction between movement and person. Civil rights activist Tarana Burke, a founder of the hashtag MeToo movement, tweeted on Monday, "I've said repeatedly that the hashtag MeToo movement is for all of us, including these brave young men who are now coming forward. It will continue to be jarring when we hear the names of some of our faves connected to sexual violence, unless we shift from talking about individuals and we begin to talk about power." She continued, "Sexual violence is about power and privilege. That doesn't change if the perpetrator is your favorite actress, activist, or professor of any gender. As Burke says, this is a question of principles, not of people." Bennet's story has raised several themes that deserve further scrutiny, not least the shame male victims of sexual assault feel about coming forward. How about that? CNN recognizes that men are hesitant about coming forward and being open about these type of issues. How about that? His affectionate messages to Argento, apparently after their encounter, also merit discussion, as long as some still attempt to make the case that continuing a cordial relationship with your abuser nullifies their abuse, and in parentheses, they wrote, it doesn't. Furthermore, Bennett's assertion that seeing Argento speak out publicly against Weinstein triggered upsetting memories for him will also sound familiar to many who have seen their abusers lauded for their apparent good principles. The idea of a perfect victim is a strange one. Perpetrating a crime doesn't inoculate a person against being a victim later, and an abuser's guilt should not be contingent on the victim's aggregate innocence. This is why crimes are tried by courts according to the law. They are not a zero-sum game of responsibility shifted from individual to individual. Weinstein's attorney, Ben Brofman, told TMZ after the story surfaced, "This development reveals a stunning level of hypocrisy by Asia Argento, one of the most vocal catalysts who sought to destroy Harvey Weinstein." Brofman added, "What is perhaps most egregious is the timing, which suggests that at the very same time Argento was working on her own secret settlement for the alleged sexual abuse of a minor, she was positioning herself at the forefront of those condemning Mr. Weinstein. But Ben Brofman and his fellow hashtag MeToo decriers can't have it both ways. If Argento has done wrong and is to be held accountable, everyone else who has committed sexual assault must be too." Weinstein, who is also facing criminal charges in New York, has denied all allegations of non-consensual sexual activity. To victimize Weinstein and paint him as an aggrieved party both diminishes Bennett's pain, if his claims are true, and insults Weinstein's own victims. Oh boy. This article is longer than I thought. By the way, I do apologize for that noise that you guys are hearing. I'm sure you guys are hearing a noise, so I do apologize about that. Not sure what that is. I'll have to get that fixed later. I know you guys don't mind, so I do apologize about that. But this is a really interesting story because this H.R. Argento, she is a big leader or a big voice in this whole Me Too movement thing, and then for it to come out that she paid $380,000 to a child actor when he was 17 is just absolutely stunning, but at the same time not so surprising, because often these type of people turn out to be hypocrites, and then if you if you go on Twitter, I suggest you actually look at some of her tweets. So let me adjust the gain from my microphone real quick. Sorry guys. So sorry about that. If you go on Twitter and you see her tweets, so before she tweeted out stuff like you should always immediately believe the viewer. Basically, she spoke out against her idea, her tweets. They say, hey, you know what? Just ignore due process. Ignore it. And now she's saying we need to wait for all the details to come out and this and that. It's going against what she's been tweeting earlier, and it truly highlighted her hypocrisy. And by the way, a lot of the replies to the tweets to her tweet was like screenshots of her tweet saying we need to immediately believe the accusers and stuff like that. So this case overall highlights her hypocrisy. That's one thing that I've certainly learned so far. So let's see what else we can find. Like, there's like a bunch of articles over this type of stuff. Okay, by the way, I'm just reading this new paragraph off of the independent.co.uk, and it says that documents report that Bennet was initially planning to sue Argento for $3.5 million in damages, citing emotional distress, lost wages, and assault. He claims that his income dropped from $2.7 million to $60,000 following the alleged assault, which is said to have occurred after he played her son in the 2004 film The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things, which we literally just talked about. So, wow, $3.5 million. You know, I truly hope he gets that $3.5 million, because I mean, it's rape. You know, I mean, gender equality. You know, and it's a bit interesting to see why people don't, why these media outlets don't seem to want to use the word rape. Like, I understand that it's an accusation, so it's not like confirmed. But let's say we had like a female accusing a male of this, and then you say, oh, this guy's a rapist and this type of stuff. That's the type of mantra that would be repeated by all sorts of media outlets. So this is definitely an interesting article. By the way, I want you guys to share your thoughts with me in the comment section, or by email, which is for those of you listening to this who can't comment, email me your thoughts and ideas and this and that at MGTOWacademy.media@gmail.com. And of course, as always, I will reply to your email. So let's see. How about this? This is another one from the Independent. It says that this one's titled "Asia Argento Denies Sexually Assaulting Dangerous Child Actor. I am deeply shocked and hurt by having read news that is absolutely false." All right, so let's read this article. So, Asia Argento has denied sexually assaulting an actor who appeared in one of her films. We already know that part. Okay, let's read this. However, the Italian actor-director now claims that a settlement was paid by her partner, Anthony Bourdain, to help reduce Bennet's severe economic problems. The documents report that Bennet was initially planning to sue Argento for $3.5 million in damages, citing emotional distress, lost wages, and sexual assault. He claims that his income dropped from $2.7 million to $60,000 following the alleged incident. And we already know that he played her son in that film. And then Argento said in a statement that was obtained by The Guardian, "I am deeply shocked and hurt by having read news that is absolutely false. I have never had any sexual relationship with Bennet." Argento alleges that actor and musician Bennet made an exorbitant request of money out of the blue, knowing that the late chef Bourdain, who she claims deemed him dangerous, was perceived to be rich. She said that Bourdain, who died by suicide in June, aged 61, paid Bennet out of fear of the negative publicity he could have brought up upon them. Subsequent to my exposure in the Weinstein case, Bennet, who was then undergoing severe economic problems and who had previously undertaken legal actions against his own family requesting millions in damages, unexpectedly made an exorbitant request of money from me, she said, adding, "Bennet knew my boyfriend, Anthony Bourdain, was a man of great perceived wealth and had his own reputation as a beloved public figure to protect. Anthony insisted the matter be handled privately, and this was also what Bennet wanted. Anthony was afraid of the possible negative publicity that such person, whom he considered dangerous, could have brought upon us. We decided to deal compassionately with Bennett's demand for help and give it to him. Anthony personally undertook to help Bennet economically upon the condition that we no longer suffer any further intrusions in our life." That's a really weird that's a weird way to say that you raped him, if you ask me. Oh boy, that was really interesting, guys. And let's see, today's recording date is August 24th. And of course, I'm recording different segments of the show throughout the different days and all that. So new information will be coming out after this thing will have been distributed to all the different sources and all that. So I might post some updates on this, but that's gonna wrap it up for this portion of the MGTOW Academy Show, episode 6 of season 2. But we still have some more stuff to cover, and that is coming up next. But that wraps it up for the Asia Argento story that's been going on. Like I said, please do share your thoughts with me about this in the comment section if you're on YouTube, and if you're on a podcast platform, please do email me your thoughts and ideas and all that type of stuff. Once again, the email address is MGTOWacademy.media@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is at all caps MGTOW followed by Academy, and the first and Academy is capitalized. So let's not waste any more time and move on to our next story or topic or whatever you want to call it. And this is an article from OpenDemocracy.net, and it's titled "Feminism is Cancer: The Angry Backlash Against Our Reporting on the Men's Rights Movement." 50/50's recent dispatch on this movement received hundreds of comments and messages on social media. We read them so you don't have to. Men's rights activists, or MRAs, met in London last month at one of the largest gatherings of anti-feminists in the world. 50/50's dispatch from the conference aroused an angry backlash as MRAs mobilized their supporters to try to discredit our report and drown out any positive response to it. They left hundreds of comments under the article and on social media, which run from the misguided but sincere through foolish and provocative to misleading, abusive, and hateful. They show what we're up against and reflect the abuse that women journalists so often face online. In this case, conference organizers emailed participants to encourage them to attack the dispatch. Many apparently obliged. We read the comments so you don't have to. If you're sick of hateful vitriol, take this as a content warning. Countless commenters have left vehemently and explicit anti-feminist messages calling us rabid feminists, crazy feminists, and feminist bullies. And this isn't from the article, but I'm saying personally, from what I have seen and experienced and all that in our modern day and age, if feminism or feminist is involved in the title or whatever it is, there's most likely it's most likely going to be messed up. So crazy feminist, I don't blame them. That's my take on it, because from my experience, from what I've covered, what I've read and all that, usually when the word feminism is involved in some way, shape, or form, it's usually going to be just messed up in some way, shape, or form. That's what I've experienced. I'm pretty sure you all can agree with me on that. So let's continue reading. Several comments were deleted by Open Democracy's moderators because they made personal attacks on the article's author against our guidelines for commenters on the website. One of those deleted comments asked about our reporter, "Am I the only one who thought something has to be done to keep such a monster and her ilks away from male children and boys?" Let's be honest. Usually, feminists are out there to harm and, I guess, in quotation marks, destroy male children and boys, or at least mold them so that feminists are happy with how male and boys are. Basically, they're not going to physically destroy them, but they're going to change them so that it benefits the feminists. That's how I view it, at least. Something along the lines of that, okay? So not going to destroy them, but they're just going to remold them into something that isn't men and boys. So that's why you commonly hear that masculinity and the male gender is under attack. This is where it's coming from. So another deleted comment said, "Why do you hate male babies, Laura? Baby males are innocent and weak. Baby males can beat you, Laura." Yeah, that's absolutely true. I don't support circumcision like that. So that is a valid point there. Yet another was left by Paul Elam, founder of the U.S. Voice for Men movement. I wouldn't really call it Voice for Men a movement. I can see how it is, but they're an organization, if I'm not wrong. But whatever. They who rallies against false rape accusations in family courts that he says favor women, which is true. Family courts do absolutely favor. In fact, it's not just family courts; it's the entire legal system that favors women. His deleted comment said, "Feminism is cancer." Is he wrong? No. The same comment, "Feminism is cancer," was posted by another user called Kronk, and this was also deleted. On Twitter, @JuliusConrad88 also tagged our dispatch with the hashtag "Feminism is cancer." And once again, that dude Julius Conrad88 is not wrong. Others have taken the opportunity to make unoriginal, objectifying comments about feminists. On Twitter, @AlanEngland4 said, "Many so-called feminist gatherings are not pretty either. It's the 3-day stubble which gets me." True. Still, other commenters have been downright nasty. @BoneDagger said on Twitter about our reporter, "I don't know how she did it either. That bold, brave pathfinder. incredible stuff. She could have been eaten alive or anything. I'm surprised she wasn't gang raped or thrown into the Thames to drown. Watching it unfold, I was particularly struck by how coordinated and quick the backlash against this dispatch was, and how certain themes were repeated in comments. Some of these I want to respond to directly. Several people asserted that women were, in fact, welcome and present at our conference, and we know women attendees were featured in the dispatch and in our new podcast episode on this movement. MRAs and their supporters insisted that the International Conference on Men's Issues that our reporter who attended was diverse. Care Frog, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, commented, "By the way, I think I remember that one of the men selling food was black. I'm not quite sure, but I think so. So maybe not all the men in the breakout room at that point of time were white." Mike Buchanan himself, organizer of the conference and founder of the Justice for Men and Boys, British anti-feminist political party, added, "Yes, he was. Likewise, one of the security men. Though none of this matters, I have never encountered sexism, racism, ageism, or homophobia in the men's rights movement. Such bigotry is an anathema to MRAs." Did I pronounce that right? Anathema? Yeah, such bigotry is anathema to MRAs. Considering Mike Buchanan is a... Oh, I gotta get my feminist voice warmed up here. Excuse me, folks. Gotta warm my feminist voice. Okay, good. I gotta read in my feminist voice. Considering Mike Buchanan is a white, straight, cis male, it comes as no shock that he's never encountered these forms of discrimination. As a woman of color, I'd also remark that if you notice two black men working in service jobs at a conference, this is not a sign of diversity, but more likely a rather hierarchical system of labor. A common theme in the comments has been anger towards the situation of men and boys globally, with some citing domestic violence against men, male circumcision, deaths from industrial accidents, and of course, suicide rates, which I urge you, by the way, speaking of suicide rates, I urge you to listen to Season 2, Episode 1 of the MGTOW Academy Show. It is very, very good. I really spent a lot of time creating that script and all that, and working on it, and recording and editing it and distributing it. It took a lot of work, so I highly suggest you listen to it. It's about the male suicide, the silent male suicide epidemic, that is. I highly suggest that you listen to it. It's well worth your time. So just wanted to get that out there. Let's get back to the article. So, how often are men told that they need to be in touch with their emotions, but not anger, of course? Said a commenter called Omnia Incendent. Oh, wait, that's Incendent. Omnia Incendent. We haven't suggested that men shouldn't be angry, but if anger is directed in an abusive and oppressive way towards women, rather than toward gender norms which impact both men and women, then it's hateful and not okay. Okay, that makes sense. It took me a while to understand what that sentence was saying, but I got it. All right, so Mike Buchanan said in another comment, "But of course, men of all ages, not just young men, should be furious at the state's assaults on their human rights, almost all of which are designed to privilege women and girls." And that is absolutely true. Okay, there is a reason that us men are called the disposable gender. This isn't just some random term that's been coined up for fun. Okay, we are usually, like 99.99% of the time, men are pushed aside in favor of women and girls. I'm not trying to deny that women and girls have problems. However, what I'm trying to say that is women and girls have their problems, and it's always being focused on, and our problems are underrated. So their problems are overrated, and men's problems are underrated. All right, and theirs is overrated. I think I may have switched towards it, but I'm not entirely sure. But you get the point. All right, it's absolutely true that we are the disposable gender. We're always pushed aside. Okay, it's them who are always put first. And I actually covered why we are the disposable and why we are the expendable gender in society in Season 2, Episode 1 of the MGTOW Academy Show. So I highly suggest you listen to it if you haven't already. So let's read this. My take on this, whether it's control over women's bodies, the sexualization of women, the gender pay gap that doesn't exist, harassment walking home at night, domestic homicide, or child marriage, it's clear that male privilege is an essential building block of most societies. So, yeah, okay, so let's see. The sexualization of women, this isn't related, really, but I just wanted to share that. I was reading this somewhere on the internet. the other night, and it was really interesting. It was that it's like something on Reddit, and it was on Ask Reddit, and it was about this guy. He asked, or a girl asked, what is a conspiracy theory that you believe is actually possible, or something like that. And one person said that like clothing companies or whatever are trying to make clothes skimpier. They're trying to make them like with less material, but they put more, like they charge you the same price for it. So in other words, they're selling you less for more. Okay, even though there's barely any clothing material used in it, there's less material put into the article of clothing. They're still selling it at an expensive price. So I mean, that was just really interesting. It kind of opened my eyes. That was like really, really interesting. So there's that. Yeah. So male privilege is not a building block of most societies. It's not. In fact, male privilege doesn't really seem to exist. There are things that we do have quote unquote privilege over, but those are very few things. In fact, we have more problems than privileges, and the list goes on and on. Yet you see all the time, men are privileged and women are oppressed. Yet when you look at the facts, you analyze the statistics and the facts and this and that, you look at the logic behind the reasoning, it's truly eye-opening. And yet we wonder why more men are going MGTOW. It's kind of interesting. It's almost as if we're right. I mean, have you guys ever considered that? Kind of interesting, isn't it? So males are the building block of both societies. We built most societies. And the ones that were built by women, I'm not a history expert, but I'm pretty sure most empires or societies that were built by women fell pretty quickly. I think it's called a matriarchy, something like that. Whatever. But we are the disposable gender, okay? We are the ones who built societies. We're the ones who are in the military. We're the ones who built society. We get hurt when and we get killed when we build tall buildings and all that. We walk on beams and on tall buildings and skyscrapers. We're the ones who built society. All right. I'm not trying to say women are unimportant. They have a very important role in society. However, feminism has screwed everything up, including women and their role in society. So, whatever. It's feminism. What can you say? Let's keep reading. That said, rigid norms which enforce a gender binary or toxic masculinities can, of course, harm men and boys as well, and many feminists work tirelessly to address these forms and impacts of oppression too. So, how do you work tirelessly? You just go on Twitter and complain about men. I'm not trying to say that you're lazy, but, I mean, you're not really helping men, okay? Trying to complain about toxic masculinity isn't helping men. You know what would help men? Trying to research or trying to advise and help out guys who are going through tough times, trying to get more research done on male suicide. That is what a feminist can do to help men. But hey, it's toxic masculinity, it's not like the government or whatever is at fault for this. I actually made a meme about this, and it was, I spent a good hour making it to demonstrate my point. Male suicide, for example, is a very complex problem. And I'll tell you what. In short, toxic masculinity is not to blame for male suicide. In fact, it's the result of feminism. That is a result of suicide. And it's to put it in short, it has a lot to do with social perfectionism. It's men caring about how people perceive them, and also about how society treats men, which can result to effects of social perfectionism and such. So what else do we have here? We have a couple more paragraphs or sentences to read here, so let's just get this little last part over with, and we'll move on to the next part of this episode. So, at Azaraf wrote on Twitter about a reporter's dispatch on the men's rights movement. All I got from this article was a threatened women's reaction. Okay, I mean, I guess. Yet over 100 comments on this article, among many others on social media, suggest a different story, that MRAs and their supporters are the ones feeling threatened by feminism and gains in women's rights. If the aim of their coordinated attack was to discredit 50/50's dispatch, their tactics and insults has shown us again, why many perceive this movement as sexist, misogynistic, and hateful in the first place. Okay, so, excuse me. So, these last little paragraphs right here. So, what is this? So it says here, this last paragraph, they were talking about how MRAs and their supporters are the ones feeling threatened by feminism and the gains in women's rights. Well, you see, women have more rights than they can deal with. In fact, they're the ones who are put up on a pedestal by society. And, you know, when you have problems like a disproportionately high suicide rate, when you have lots of families being torn apart, when you have, geez, you see, I'm even struggling to, which problems should I talk about? There's so many problems that we face, I can't even choose what to talk about. We face countless problems, okay? And we're not threatened by women gaining rights. We are threatened by them gaining power, okay? We don't mind about equality and rights. What we do mind about, however, is power and them holding power over us in the legal system, which they kind of already do. If you look at the evidence in the bunch of videos and podcasts and live streams that I've done about this type of stuff, you will have realized that women do hold an inordinate legal power over men in the legal system. So we're not, like I said, we're not worried about them gaining rights. We're worried about them gaining inordinate power over us in society. That is what we are worried about. Okay, we're not against women rights. I don't know how many times I need to clarify this. Okay, but we're only worried about protecting ourselves, and that's it. Okay, we're all for women getting rights. I'm all for women getting equal rights as men. There are some in the MGTOW community who say that that we should go back to traditional gender roles. To me, I'm okay with that too. I'm just in the middle. Okay, I honestly am. So, you know, I could see if I were a woman and I didn't have the ability to vote or do this or that because I was a woman, I could see how that would be unfair. Don't get me wrong. But now how society is turning out is that men are being pushed aside and women are gaining inordinate power over men. And that is what we are worried about. And then again, in the bottom part, it says many perceive this movement, and they're talking about the men's rights movement, as sexist, misogynistic, and hateful. That's because you guys are painting it to be that way. There are legit. I'm not gonna lie. There are people within the MGTOW community. There are people within the men's rights community who are legit woman haters. They hate women. They are even incels. If you want to go that far, I'm not gonna lie. There are those type of people. You know. Every group has their bad apples. I'm not going to say, oh, all MGTOW are good. We're all perfect. No, we're not. Okay. So this may be a radical statement in our modern society, but men are humans. And I'm not sure if you know, but humans are not perfect. And we're not angels either. No one's an angel, right? So, no, there are bad apples in the men's rights movement, and there are bad apples in MGTOW and all that type of stuff. I'm not trying to deny that there are actual MGTOW and that there are men's rights activists who are sexist, misogynistic, and hateful and all that good stuff. I'm not trying to deny that. However, the movement itself is not sexist, it's not misogynistic, and it's not hateful. Okay? Feminism is sexist. Okay? We have women who are in other countries. They're in countries like third world countries. They don't even have basic human rights. And our feminists don't complain about that. They complain about a non-existent pay gap. They complain about catcalling. And yes, that is an issue. But when you have women who are openly being raped and all that type of stuff in other countries, I think we should focus on the rape and not the catcalling. Okay, let's get our priorities in check. Misogynistic. There's nothing misogynistic about wanting to prevent another gender from holding power over you. Just like women would fear being overpowered by a man, we fear getting overpowered by women because we like to we don't want to get screwed over in life. Might I remind you? Hateful, yes. In certain aspects, the men's rights movement is hateful. However, that's not what it's aimed for. Like I said, there are some people in the movement and in the men's rights movement and in MGTOW who are hateful towards women, but that's not what MGTOW or the men's rights movement is about. Those are just people who interpret each movement or each philosophy incorrectly. And that's all there is to it. So guys, I'll have that article linked in the description or episode information section so you guys can check it out for yourselves. Be sure to share your thoughts with me on this article in the comment section if you're watching this video on YouTube, and if you're listening to this as a podcast on my platforms. Please do send me an email of your thoughts and ideas and this and that at MGTOWacademy.media@gmail.com. Now let's move on to the next portion of the show. All right, so you guys might not believe this, but as I was doing some final minor fixes to the audio of the last recording, because I record different parts of the show in different pieces throughout the week, and then I do the editing or whatever throughout different days of the week. Basically, I do it at different times. It's not usually done in one run unless it's like a special type of thing like the male suicide podcast, but usually it's done in different segments. But anyways, as I was just editing the small portions of the audio, I was trying to find some more stuff to find, and I was curious. I just wanted to dig in a bit deeper about this whole Asia Argento fiasco, and turns out there's more news about her. There are two articles that I want to go over now. The first one is from the dailymail.co.uk or the dailymail.com, whatever you want to call it, and this article is titled Asia Argento sent unwanted topless video to recovering sex addict she knew had a girlfriend and then freaked out when he got upset, saying she did this with all her friends. So, Jeff Leach said on the podcast Legion of Skanks that Asia Argento sent him a video of herself topless, knowing that he had a girlfriend. The comedian, who is 34, then said that the actress flipped out when he got angry with her, and then she said that she sent nude photos and videos to all her friends. He said that he questioned her being the public face of the hashtag Metoo movement in light of her actions. I'm not saying she hasn't been assaulted or hurt by bad people, but maybe she and Rose McGowan are not the best effing spokespeople for it, said Leach. Hey, listen, I gotta agree with that guy. He made a great point. Anyways, at the time, Leach was beginning the process of treating a sex addiction that he once told the BBC led him to sleep with over 300 women by the age of 27. Those are the bullet points for the title. Now, let's see what else we can find. Okay, so let's just go over the important parts for the first part of this article, and I'll see if I can link it in the episode information section and in the comments so you guys can check it out, or in the description. I'm not sure where I'll link it, but I'm pretty sure I'll allow you guys to take a look at the article yourselves. So anyways, this guy was once again on the Legions of Skanks podcast, and that's when he shared the story during a discussion about the arrest of Harvey Weinstein just days prior on charges of rape and assault. So Leach said, that girl sent me pictures of her titties or whatever it is. It's kind of blurred out on Snapchat when I was with my girlfriend. She knew I was with my girlfriend and we were friends, and she sends me this video with her tits out like, hey Jeff, and I just replied, you can't send me that shit. Like said, Argento was aware that he had a girlfriend at the time, while the actress was recently divorced from the father of her son, Michelle Civetta. He also said she flipped out when he chided her for sending the video at a time when he had been trying to gain control over a sex addiction. He once told the BBC that, once again, led him to sleep with over 300 women by the age of 27. A representative for Argento and Leach did not return requests for comments. And, okay, there's more to this article. And I can see that, oh boy, wow, yeah, way to go. That's the leading, that's one of the main faces, one of the main voices for the Me Too movement. And then we have this pop up, and there's a bit more to this article. Leach went on to say that he was not in favor of Argento being one of the major faces of the hashtag Me Too movement because of her actions. I think of the irony of someone complaining about unwanted sexual attention and then doing the exact same thing, explained Leach. So, sorry guys, I had to scratch my back really badly. But I want to go what Leach just said about unwanted sexual attention, then doing the exact same thing. I'm going to sidetrack for a bit. You see, here's the thing. Here's how it really works. For those of you who don't exactly know Women love to be objectified. Believe me, they love to be objectified. However, it's got to be done by the right guy. Okay, you can't just have some ugly dude who doesn't look good, who's gonna objectify women or whatever. That type of stuff. They don't like that. You're a sexist creep or whatever. But if it's like a hot guy who's got a good looking body, he's got a toned body, he's ripped and this and that, he's got the looks, he's got the he just has that attitude in him. You can tell that he's like a leader or whatever. That's who they like to be objectified by. Okay, and that's how it really is. And the hypocrisy in that's really surprising. You don't have to go very far to see proof of this. Sometimes simply looking at some social media posts made by women, or looking at quote unquote memes. For example, one of the ones I saw, it was something like it was for women jogging who go running, and it said, run like there's a creep behind you, and like there's a hot guy in front of you, or something like that. Stuff along the lines of that. That was definitely interesting. So that's how that type of stuff works, and you can look that stuff up online and Google. I'm not gonna rant on for another 15 minutes about that type of topic, but I wanted to touch on that for a bit. But you can just look it up on Google, type in women and objectification, MGTOW, look it up on Google, go to Reddit, go to MGTOW.com, take a look at all the forums and this and that, maybe even look up some YouTube videos of it. I'm not sure if anybody else has covered it. And if not, I might get to do that, but that's for later. I still got a bunch of video ideas lined up, but anyways, let's get back to the article. So remember, so Leach was talking about how he thought it was ironic of somebody to be complaining about unwanted sexual attention and then doing the exact same thing. So that's where we left off. And then anyways, Leach is still talking, and he said, she was like, I do it to all my friends and they know it's not sexual. And I was like, get fucked. If my girlfriend saw it, she wouldn't like this shit. He was also quick to point out that that this in no way impacted the validity of Argento's claims. I'm not saying that she hasn't been assaulted or hurt by bad people, but maybe she and Rose McGowan are not the best effing spokespeople for it. The podcast in which Leach said all of this was released on June 2nd, a week before the tragic suicide of Argento's boyfriend, Anthony Bourdain. Argento posted a number of other videos tagging Leach on her social media accounts, including one of herself laying in bed and saying, whenever I have a glass of wine, I listen to Bobby Vincent. In another, she does what she calls a Jeff Leach impersonation, in which she lies in bed and says, started from the bottom. She then stands up on the bed and states, now we hear. Okay. Wow. Oh, okay. Sure. How about that? And then anyways, a video sent from a Walt Disney park to Leach shows Argento looking at a statue of the company's founder, Walt Disney, and stating, how do you know Walt Disney is a Nazi? The salute. Leach is a longtime advocate for women, for victims' rights, and in a 2015 Vine, he actually confronted photographer Terry Richardson on the streets of New York. Someone had to have the balls to tell at Terry World, #Terry Richardson, what a rapey creep he is, said Leach. I hope I ruined his day like how he ruined so many underage models' lives. Guess he had shit to do on the rape cycle, so he didn't stay to chat, #NYC. Richardson denied the allegations against him and has never been charged with a crime yet. Leach has also been open about his own struggles with sex addiction. His friendship with Argento began around the time of her alleged assault of underage actor Jimmy Bennet, which we literally just covered. Or did we cover that just now? Or was it a couple of... I don't know, whatever. We did cover in this episode, and I know that's for sure. So, oh boy. So that's the topless video scandal, or whatever you want to call it, going on. So that's interesting. We do still have one more article that I would like to cover so far. Maybe more stuff will pop up. I don't know, but this is just one that I also found. Excuse me. This is from, I think it's pronounced uproxx.com. It's spelled uproxx.com. And this article is titled "Asia Argento allegedly called model Rain Dove a monster for turning her text messages over to police." So let's read this. Sorry guys, I just ate dinner before I started doing this recording, so it may not be the best idea, but now I got free time, so why not, Why not? So anyways, the fallout from the New York Times report about former child actor Jimmy Bennett's 2013 sexual assault claim against Asia Argento, noted a Harvey Weinstein accuser, has taken several turns. Not only has Argento taken a career hit, but there's also the chance that she'll face legal repercussions, given that it's a crime for an adult to have sex with anyone under age 18. He was 17 and she was 37 at the time. How about that? I mean, I know it may seem crazy to you guys. I know it may seem ridiculous, but a woman could possibly face legal repercussions for her own actions. That's right. These are her own actions, as in responsibility. She could possibly take responsibility. Oh, dear God, the world's about to end. A woman is about to take responsibility for her own actions. Oh my God, this is so scary. Ah! Okay. I think I'm joking a bit too much. But you get the idea. Usually in the legal system, women get a slap on the wrist. I'm not saying women aren't always responsible. I'm just trying to say that the notion that she will actually receive an actual just punishment for what she's done is kind of ridiculous, because that's what this article seems to be pointing to. It seems like they're saying, oh, she's about to get justice for what she did. Like what? Like 10 hours of community service? Give me a break. Whatever. So, earlier this week, Rose McGowan distanced herself from Argento while explaining that their mutual friend, non-binary model Rain Dove, had turned over text messages about the case to police. The model is now speaking to a number of outlets about the decision to do so. Excuse me. Those text messages somehow made their way into TMZ's hands. The outlet published them, which revealed multiple inconsistencies in Argento's story. Rain Dove doesn't know who leaked the messages to media outlets, but when the model and McGowan told Argento that the police would see the text, Argento called Rain Dove a monster, according to CNN, to which Rain Dove further stated, "I did not want to be complicit in something that could be a crime." The model also spoke at length with Fox News, with Rain Dove saying that Argento first insisted that she was innocent. And the model wanted to help Argento clear her name, but then the story began to change, and Rain Dove realized something was seriously amiss with Argento's account. Rain Dove elaborated more to Fox News about Argento's monster accusation, and Argento hasn't spoken publicly on the accusations for over a week, which is when she denied the sexual assault accusation, while claiming that Anthony Bourdain paid Bennet the $380,000 settlement for publicity-related reasons, and there is still no word on who leaked the legal documents of the settlement to the New York Times. And in addition, Rain Dove told Today that there was no choice but for those text messages to go to police. And I gotta agree with Rain Dove on this one. That this is a very serious issue. It absolutely is. And knowing how messed up that our legal system can be, knowing how quickly things can take a turn, handing over evidence is the best thing you can do. If you have something in your hands that could be used against you, you best turn it in and do whatever you can to prove yourself innocent. And yes, I am sidetracking for a reason. This is to let you guys know that like, look, if somebody does something similar, like some chicks sends you nudes or you hook up with someone, all right, I want you to capture all the evidence needed to defend yourself. Okay, if you say, hey, maybe she could use it, like if you're going out with a chick, you're dating a chick or whatever, you know, and then you receive nudes or something like that, and you go, hey, I got nudes, and then you go, hey, could this be used against me in the future? You wonder, could this be used against me? If the answer is yes, or if you think it's possible, I want you to get all the evidence needed to prove yourself innocent. And if you're not really innocent, that's your problem. Okay, MGTOW does not endorse you to do wrong things. We don't endorse you to do anything like raping, sexual assault, or harassment. We do not encourage those type of things. However, if you are in a situation where you've done everything correctly, you've done everything right, you've done everything in your moral standards, if you will, and you still find yourself like, hey, this could end up bad. This could end up badly if it takes the wrong turn. So that's when you want to get your evidence ready. Just a tip, though, okay? And you can take the risk. You can take the risk. Not my problem. I'm just trying to help you guys. All right, that's the only reason I'm doing this YouTube channel. The only reason I'm doing this show. The only reason I'm taking out hours each day, each week, just to run the show, just to run the channel. I'm doing this just to help you guys. Okay, I have not made a single penny from all the work that I've made. I'm simply here to help you guys and guide you with some advice. And same thing, I get guidance from you guys all the time. I get, sometimes the greatest red pills that I have ever learned or read are in the comments of my very own videos. Okay, they're not from me, they're from other people. That's why I once again said, like I always say, that your comments and your interaction is very important. So let's wrap up this article. But anyways, the model further stated, I'm not anti-Asia or anti-anything. I just believe Jimmy Bennet deserves to have justice, and I believe that due process deserves to have it. Rain Dove has also released a longer statement on Twitter, which you can read below. That is too long, but of course, I'm not going to worry about that because you guys can read that. Okay, I don't want to waste too much time because there is an upload limit with my show, and I don't want to pass that upload limit. But guys, please do share your thoughts on these Asia Argento stories in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube and if you're listening to this as a podcast on many of my other platforms, drop me an email at MGTOWacademy.media@gmail.com, and I will, of course, as always, respond to your thoughts. And we're probably gonna, I'm not sure how many more articles I'm gonna do. Probably we're just gonna do one more, and that should wrap it up for the show. So let's move on to the last and most likely the final part of the show. Okay, so before we move on to that final part of the show, we're going to be doing 2 articles, not 1. Okay, I made a miscalculation, so I apologize, but I doubt you guys care. So, let's go on to this article right here. It's from commentarymagazine.com. And this isn't surprising, but now this type of stuff is starting to leak its way into online media sources, and yeah, it's going to happen. So this one is titled, No Children of Men, an Almost Biblical Curse. Modern Western man is dying. I mean that quite literally. Total sperm count among Western men declined nearly 60% from 1973 to 2011. That's according to the first ever comprehensive meta-analysis of 7,500 studies by researchers at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. The analysis was published last summer, but it seems to have mostly eluded media attention until this year. The most alarming finding? When we restricted the analysis to studies after 1995, we found no sign that the decline is leveling off, said the Hebrew University's Dr. Haggai Levine, one of the lead researchers. In other words, the decline continues. The implications for the species and modern Western societies especially are existential. As a GQ essay put it, the human race is apparently on a trend line towards becoming unable to reproduce itself. Lest you think that a magazine scribes hyperbole, here's Shanna Swan, another one of the paper's lead scientists. You can ask, what does it take? When is a species in danger? When is a species threatened? And we are definitely on that path. Absent a dramatic reversal, that path might one day lead us to the opening scene of Children of Men, the 2006 movie based on P.D. James' dystopian novel, in which a distraught crowd in a coffee shop watches news coverage of the death of the youngest person on Earth, age 18. With global fertility at 0 in the movie, that untimely death brings mankind one grim step closer to total extinction. Then a seemingly miraculous pregnancy does take place, and it falls to our protagonist, Theo,
Clive Owen at his scraggly, depressive best to escort the expectant mother through a post-apocalyptic Britain to a safe place where she might give birth and renew the face of the earth. To be sure, men and women are still having babies in the real world, though fertility rates among Western nations are well below replacement. Lower fertility means fewer young workers, which in turn causes all sorts of social problems: slow growth, welfare competition, unmet pension obligations, loneliness, and depression. The human race may not go extinct for a long time, but the immediate effects are bad enough that we should make rectifying the male seed deficit an immediate priority. So, I want to weigh in here. If you want to make rectifying the male seed, as you say, an immediate priority, how about you make society bearable for men? Okay, we're at a point right now where the best option is to live by yourself. You're always taught, either it's subconsciously or you're always straight out taught, you're always getting this idea that you are meant to procreate and have a family and this and that. And I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist when I was like, yeah, you got to procreate. You know, I don't have a tinfoil hat on. I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but we're always led our whole lives to thinking that marriage and starting a family is the must. Yet then when we step into the actual dating scene, when we step into the relationship scene, it turns out to be something that we didn't even expect. Excuse me. So, I mean, I'm not just making this stuff up. You know, you can check the declining marriage rate. You can check the ever so increasing divorce rates. You can check with the what's called the herbivore men in Japan. You can check with MGTOW, you know, me. You can check with a bunch of guys, and people are holding off on a lot of things, holding off on starting a family, holding off on having children, and there's a bunch of stuff in there. And no, okay, I'm not totally ignorant. Like, I'm aware that it's not just gender dynamics, whatever you want to call it. That's the reason why people are holding off from having a family. I'm aware that there are economical problems. I'm aware that there's that people want to focus on different things in life. I'm aware of that. Okay, I'm aware of that. But I'm just trying to say, if you want to make conditions more favorable towards guys, the least you could do is at least make family courts fair and not biased. Make the legal system not biased against men. But of course, that's really not going to happen, is it? It hasn't happened in the past couple of decades, and I highly doubt it will happen in the future. I highly doubt it. But again, that may change. That's just my current views on that. And like I said, it may change. But let's get back to reading this article. So sorry for backtracking or sidetracking, guys. But anyways, they're talking about rectifying the male seed, as they call it. So, and then they say that's where things get complicated, because scientists can't seem to reach any sort of agreement about what's causing men to produce fewer little swimmers. Is it environmental degradation? Is it the chemicals and plastics that saturate modern life? Is it stress, smoking, diet and nutrition, all of the above? No one can say for certain. Another point for how do you say that? Verisimilitude. That's how you say it. Another point for verisimilitude for Children of Men. In the movie, it is never quite made clear what is behind the global fertility crisis. It's just there, almost like, well, a biblical curse. The West's reigning scientism would never permit us to look beyond science for an answer. Scientism, as opposed to science properly understood, says that scientific knowledge is the only kind worthy of the name. It seeks to supplant and indeed vanquish other claimants to be true, especially revealed in religion, with its injunctions to cleave to have a wife and be fruitful and multiply, rather than play video games and cavort with sex bots. I wonder who that's aimed at. Video games and sex bots. Thinking emoji, you know what I mean? But there's probably a reason why some guys are playing video games and we're turning to sex bots. There may be a reason for that. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I'm just saying, maybe there's a reason as to why we're choosing plastic life-size Barbie dolls over modern women. Okay, maybe there's a reason behind it. Sir, there may be some guys who legitimately have no social skills and all that type of stuff whatsoever. But still, not just because you have a sex bot doesn't mean that you're some incel freak, who can't talk to women. There's a reason that type of stuff's happening. I just heard that there's like this brothel. You know what a brothel is? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it clearly. It's spelled BROTHEL, a brothel. There's like a sex doll brothel, and it's opening up in Toronto, I heard. Maybe it's another city. I'm pretty sure it's Toronto, all right? So the sex doll industry is really taking off, I guess. But whatever. The persistent mystery of the missing sperm is another reminder that the scientific contraceptive society may not be as durable as its tiniest boosters imagine it to be. It's just a small correction. Nothing too important down there. Whatever. So that was pretty interesting. Sperm's on the decline. All right. What was it? 60%. Yep. Sperm count among Western men declined nearly 60%. How about that? So I guess that would kind of merge in with the health portion of the segment of the episode. I try to fit some health stuff in there as well. Because as you all know, I care about your well-being. I care about that too. So I guess this sort of counts. So, but guys, do what you can to watch your testosterone. I'm gonna start putting out some content soon to help you guys maintain your well-being. I'm gonna start a series soon. Maybe it'll be called something like MGTOW Life or MGTOW whatever. I'm not sure. It'll be something along the lines of that, and I'll cover stuff that's basically gonna help you improve yourself. So I'll do that a bit later. I got some other projects I want to work on first. But anyways. Let's move on to the last and final article tonight. All right, so, it's tonight for me. It's 8:40 when I'm recording this. Sorry, I forget that this isn't like a live stream or whatever. I forget sometimes, so whatever. This last article, it's from Deadline.com. All right. Okay, so we are once again going back to Asia Argento. All right, so... what are you doing now, Miss Argento? Let's see what you're doing now. Asia Argento claims Jimmy Bennet sexually attacked her, and now she's launching phase 2 of the hashtag MeToo movement. That's right, guys. That's right. Phase 2 of the MeToo movement is, and you thought it was over, huh? Silly you. You thought the MeToo movement would end. No, it's not. All right. In a statement from her lawyer, Mark J. Heller, Asia Argento disputing sexual assault claims from Jimmy Bennet, and in a turn of events, Argento says that Bennet attacked her and that she is launching phase 2 of the hashtag MeToo movement. The lengthy statement dubs Argento a pioneer of phase 1 of the hashtag MeToo movement, a movement started in 2006 by Tarana Burke for abused women who did not have the resources to get help. And this was long before Hollywood was involved, and nonetheless, Argento stood up against Harvey Weinstein, who she claims raped her. She was one of the many Hollywood figures that came forward during Hollywood's initial involvement of the hashtag MeToo movement. On August 20th, the New York Times published an article where actor Jimmy Bennet accused Argento of sexual assault. Argento claims that she never had a sexual relationship with Bennet, but had a long-distance friendship with him. However, in text messages, she stated, "The horny kid jumped in me. He jumped me. I had sex with him. It felt weird." She went on to say she became frozen when he was on top of her and that she was his sexual fantasy since he was 12. Do I believe that? I'm not sure. Going on. Argento then says that she chose not to prosecute Bennet for sexually attacking her. Argento also disputes the $380,000 settlement Argento paid Bennet in an attempt to preclude Bennet from making any allegations against Asia. According to the statement, the payment agreement did not preclude Bennet from making any statements about the event or preclude him from filing a criminal complaint against Asia. Okay, hold on a second. $380,000. That's a lot of money. Lots and lots of money. You could go to college, and you know how expensive college is. You can go to college and still have leftover money to buy a small house or something like that, and that's a lot of money. It seems a bit difficult for me to interpret or understand. So let me get this straight. According to Asia, she was raped by Bennet, and as a result, she paid him $380,000 because she was raped by him, and this was to prevent any false allegations. Yet, according to that statement, the payment agreement did not stop Bennet. It did not preclude Bennet from making any statements about the event or stop him from filing a criminal complaint against Asia. I'm not an Einstein. I'm not Albert Einstein. I'm not some smart dude or anything. Insert smart person name here. I'm not an Albert Einstein by any means, but this doesn't really add up. Like, it doesn't, make sense. I know. Common sense is a rarity in modern society. I understand, but come on, guys. I really, how stupid can you be to believe that stuff? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, I got raped by a man. I might as well pay him some hush money. Pay him some hush money because he raped me. Yeah, it's so stupid. I'm sorry. I feel sometimes, in my opinion, it sounds childish to use the word stupid, but it honestly is. The statement also suggests that Bennet intruded on the relationship between Argento and Anthony Bourdain. Believing that Bourdain was wealthy, Bennet demanded a financial payment so he wouldn't embarrass Argento. As a result, Bourdain chose to protect Argento and his reputation and to pay Bennet, and allowed Bennet to extract payments from him. On top of the disputes, Argento is apparently launching Phase 2 of the hashtag Metoo movement as if it is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. According to Argento, she believes Phase 2 is where everyone should come forward, tell their story regardless of their past. In Argento's circumstances, it constitutes a misunderstanding of interaction between her and Bennet that was initiated by Bennet, perpetrated upon her, and resulted in her freezing and being placed in a state of shock. And you can read the full statement below, but I'm not going to read that full statement because it's way too long and I'm way too tired. But of course, I will be linking this article in the episode information box or whatever it is, so you guys can check it out. For those of you listening to this as a podcast on different platforms, and for YouTube, for those of you guys on YouTube, it will be in the description. So have no worries, you can read it yourself, but I'm not going to, because I'm here to talk and explain events, not read things. So I want to go back to the bottom, the last part. So let me read this and think. Close your eyes or whatever. And if you're driving your car, please don't close your eyes. But you get the point. Focus on what I'm saying. Okay, focus on what I'm saying. According to Argento, she believes Phase 2 is where everyone should come forward, tell their story, regardless of their past. Regardless of their past. So a rapist can come out and say, oh, guys, I was sexually assaulted, but, this is Phase 2 of the hashtag MeToo movement, so, of course, my past doesn't matter in this case. It doesn't matter right now. My past doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know about you guys, but this just seems a bit fishy, especially when she is claiming to be a victim of rape, and now she's saying that the people who are coming out shouldn't be worried about their past. But again, she's a victim, so why would she need to worry about that? But again, I don't know. I'm just some random dude on the internet. What do I know? But doesn't that seem a bit fishy to you guys? I need to put my. Do I have it? No, I don't have. Sorry, guys. I was trying to find my tinfoil conspiracy theory hat, but I can't find it. Must have gone thrown away. But whatever. Or I ate it for lunch. I don't know. But hold on. Let's do some thinking here. Let's do some cognitive thinking, or whatever it's called. So she is apparently a victim of rape. And now this victim of rape is saying that we should have people come forward regardless of their past. Like, does that make any sense to you guys whatsoever? Like I said, I am no Albert Einstein or whatever it is, but that just does not make any sense to me. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm looking at the comments. I'm gonna read this comment really quickly. This comment was made at the bottom. It was made by, hold on a second, this thing keeps on moving. The page keeps on moving. Okay, so this was made by DL, all right? And then it said, she said we're entering Phase 2 where victims that may have been perpetrators in the past should also come forward. But then she denies being a perpetrator. So why need face to? Exactly. That's what I was just saying. It does not make any sense. So guys, I know it does not make any sense. So this whole Asia Argento thing has been a huge fiasco. It's been a huge mess that's been unfolding throughout the week. So please share your thoughts with me in the comment section below if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, please email me your thoughts. Send all your emails and all your thoughts to me at MGTOWacademy.media@gmail.com. All right, guys, so that will conclude today's episode. So if you've made it this far without stopping or anything, I'd like to thank you for listening so far. This is the longest non-live episode. Okay, my longest live show was like maybe about 6 hours long, but this is the longest pre-recorded show that I've ever made to record. So anyways, once again, thank you for listening, guys. Be sure to share your thoughts with me in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this as a podcast on the various platforms that the MGTOW Academy Show is on, like iTunes or the Apple Podcast app, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and so on and so forth, email your thoughts to me at MGTOWacademy.media@gmail.com. And as always, I will reply to you. My email address, the one I just gave to you, is one of the two ways that you can get in contact with me. The second way you can get in contact with me is via Twitter. So follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @allcaps MGTOW followed by Academy. The first A in Academy is capitalized. And so far, that's all I'd like to say. Once again, guys, thank you so much for the continued support. I just checked up on my analytics for, I think it was Season 2, Episode 4 on toxic femininity. How do you say? Toxic femininity. That's a tongue twister. Toxic femininity. I think it has like 1,500 listens. Guys, I'm getting excited right now. That is such a big milestone for the show. I've never had an episode pass over 1,000 listens. And now we are at 1,500 listens per episode. We're averaging at about 500 listens per episode. That is extremely great news. That's extremely great news. The show is growing. So if you are an active listener, if you've been listening to all these episodes nonstop, thank you. Oh yeah, and thank you for the continued support. My Patreon will be also in the description or episode information section, so you guys can consider supporting the show if you like the content that I'm putting out. So that's all I'd like to say for now, and until I see you guys next time, remember that it's a very dangerous world out there, so be sure to keep taking your daily doses of red pills and to stay safe. Everybody, this is MGTOW Academy, signing off.